Yeah, I say this all the time that all the cliche stuff that like when you're pissed off or life isn't going well, you're like, screw all those sayings, they're not true. And then when you're in a good spot, you're like, oh, this is why people say this all the time.
Yeah.
Does that actually make sense now?
Shall we get started?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
let's do it.
You take the first line, Tyler. I'll take the second line.
Oh, okay. Switch it up a bit like this. I love it. I like it. Okay. Well, welcome. Welcome to our episode number 3, 4, maybe, of Alpha Talks. We have episode 4. Okay, beautiful. I am Tyler, one of the co-founders of Alpha Traders Country Club. This is Martin here, another co-founder, and we have Mikey G joining us now.
Yep. Welcome, guys. This is Alpha Traders Country Club. We are a group that is specifically focused on helping each other become better traders, whether that's in NFTs, crypto, or stocks. We have professionals from all parts of the industry that come onto our live stream and discuss numerous topics regarding to getting into stocks, crypto, or NFTs. And today we have a special guest, Mikey G, who is the OG, can I say, former Hape Beast mod.
Dude, you can say whatever. You can call me whatever you want, man.
Yeah. Okay, honey. We're going to let you introduce yourself because I know one of the things that we look forward to is actually getting to know you as a person and your journey into the NFT space, because a lot of people look up to you now. You even have NFTs of yourself now. Dude. And you didn't do that, right?
I didn't. That was a project.
How sick that is, by the way.
Yeah, man. I will know that I've, successfully lived a life once I have my own NFT image after me.
Yeah, that was just a really nice gift of a project that we had on this project called Homie G's. Cool. Really cool guys. This guy, Evian, he's the artist. He's out of LA. Just like, again, like, it's just so cool to meet all these different people. Because what I love about what we do is, just to run one NFT project is a shit ton of work. And you're just consumed with that one brand. But we work hard in the sense that we're trying to get a big reach across the space. So I have the pleasure and honor, I really think, of talking to so many different projects. And we glean so much information from that, right? So we had these guys, Homie G's, on, and they were one of the first projects that we talked about that, metaverse ready NFT characters before the mint even happened. So, it wasn't your typical like, oh, we're about to mint, nothing, down to the last hour. Like, these guys were good. And so I guess he had some time had already the character models, and he whipped up a Mikey G, which was pretty cool.
Awesome. So before we start asking Mikey G numerous NFT questions, the overall concept of today is going to be tips and tricks for newcomers to the NFT space. And then we can evolve that into talking maybe more about what it is to be a community mod, community manager, and what it takes to be a great NFT brand, because you have a lot of experience in that.
Yeah.
Before we get started, please, if you are not subscribed to our channel, do that now. Send out some links, post to your friends, and let's bring more people in, and we'll be here looking at the chat, and we'll be answering any questions you may have.
Midlife just subbed right now.
Nice. Okay. Go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna throw a full curveball in here.
Love curveballs.
You said you wanted to sort of take the NFT standpoint at start and then go into the moderation standpoint of it. I was wondering if maybe we could start with the moderation part of it, because it's funny how I actually found out about you, Mikey G, is that I got into NFTs through Hape, and not in the fact that I was part of their project, but I came in knowing what I wanted to do. And I studied the project for hundreds of hours.
Yes, a lot of people did.
every single part of it. And I was like, I just like all the way leading up to Mint, I was like, I love everything that's happening here. Like this is something that needs to be, you know, studied and replicated, and, you know, you knew how it was going even, you know, even from the early days. So like, where did you come in on that process? And like, how did you evolve from, you know, when you started to sort of when you left there?
So do you want me to go all the way back to the beginning of like my mod career?
Yeah, go hit me.
Okay. So I don't know my mod career. So I had a long career in advertising and marketing, worked for a really big company, managed their really large ad budget. And I kind of did creative and built creative in-house teams.
Don't undersell that. You're talking about Geico, right?
Yes. I worked for a company called Geico, and I managed their advertising brand budget. So I don't know, when I left, it was, I think, over $2 billion. So it was a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of people. We got to do a lot of fun stuff. And, you know, I started as I actually went to school. I went to Penn State for graphic design and advertising. And I started literally as a direct mail designer. So I was literally just putting copy in direct mail packages. And that took me 6 months until I was like, walked into my boss's office and I was like, listen, I either do something else or I'm jumping out this window because this is not going to work out. It was just so miserably boring. So I just kind of worked my way up. I actually worked there 13 years right out of college, which is unheard of in, you know, early mid 2000s. And then at the end, probably the last 5 to 6 years, I started managing their, you know, advertising, all their partners and brand, and did all their TV commercials, and went to go to LA and do all the production stuff. And then fast forward, I moved across the country and was getting super stressed out, right? And I was director, VP level. It was, you know, working at like some Silicon Valley startup type vibe. And it's just super stressful. And then I got pretty sick and I was like, you know what, this isn't worth it. I'm going to take a step back. And I went, ironically, I'm back in insurance now, but I'm doing like high level, I would say marketing strategy. I still hold a full-time job with all this other crap going on. And it was about, I think in August, my old buddy from Geico, actually, who was like the head of digital now, he's always been hardcore investing. Like it reminds me of both of you, you know, just hardcore traditional investor, all about the dividends, super pumped to just day trade, do all that fun stuff. Well, he got into NFTs, obviously, way back when he saw it was a thing. And he had bought Original Cool Cat. He had a couple of them. And the president of Time Magazine has, he's a big Cool Cat holder too. So he had, something at the end of August, because around my birthday, he had a competition only for Cool Cat holders to say, hey, make a fake Time Magazine cover to talk about the rise of crypto and NFTs. Well, I had no clue really what an NFT was. He sent me the Cool Cat and he was like, he used the word fudding, right? And I was like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know what that means. So he literally like told me the copy to put on it. 15 minutes in between a meeting, I whipped up open Photoshop, made this like pretty basic Time Magazine cover. And then he calls me hysterical 2.5 weeks later, and we had won it. And he sent me the Cool Cat, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And it was just like this tiny little blue drawing of a cat. And then I realized it was almost $20,000. And I was like, what the hell is this? And there starts my mod career. So that was the end of August, beginning of September. At this point, like NFTs are just going insane, right? You could shit on a piece of paper and sell it. You know, you could sell like a 15,000 collection. Like it just, people were buying anything. It was crazy.
Sure. Just quickly on that. This is just stopped recording for some reason, so I'm just going to quickly start it again. Like we can keep going, but I just want to start the recording again. That's all. Continue.
No, that's okay. By the way, can I curse? I don't even know. I just started out because I'll
get
a little animated.
You are good.
So yeah, I mean, people are just buying the most ridiculous stuff. Mints were selling out immediately. And it was really this like time of like, because Bored Ape's still not even or almost a year old. So back then they were almost 3 or 4 months old, right? So like it was still pretty fresh. And I would call that time in my career was like the age of the rug pull, right? Like really hardcore. Like everyone knows what a rug pull is, but like 99.9% of all projects were a rug pull. So it took me like a couple weeks, and I was like, well, this is cool. And I started, the first thing I did was I made a Twitter called Mikey G NFT, because I was like, well, NFT and Mikey G rhyme, and my close friends and family call me Mikey G. I was like, that works. And then I followed I would say 2,000 people on Twitter, just had no followers, followed 2,000 people. And that was probably literally only a couple days, a week. And I finally went into my first Discord server. That was overwhelming. Never used Discord in my entire life. And I was probably about 6 hours deep. I go to my first super, super hype project, what was called OX Vampire. It actually would destroy right now because it's this vampire anime art. And it isn't 3D, it was 2D. It was really cool looking. And, this thing blew up to 60,000 people in 24 hours. And me as a marketer, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. How can this be happening? This is not
Numbers
real.
I still don't know what's happening.
It's all fake, man. It's just all fake. It's they're the only real projects that are doing I would say, a Phantom Network or an Imaginary Ones. I mean, dude, you can pay a couple $100 and get a bunch of fake accounts to blow your Twitter account up to 20, 30,000 in a couple days easily. And then those people,
they DM us every day.
Yeah, you get DMs every day. I mean, literally for $1,000, you can buy a ton of fake people and a ton of bots. And really quickly. So well, winding back to 60,000 people, and I just thought at the time, and this is one of the many lessons to learn. I just thought at the time, oh, this is a new space, so this is possible. Meanwhile, I had spent almost 20 years in marketing, spending over $1 billion, and I know how marketing works, right? But I even got fooled, and I was like, okay, I guess this is a thing. So I was like, you know what? Because then the whitelist, it was whitelist grind, plus you have to invite 30 people, right? And that was another way that was getting super spammy, right? So people are just making fake accounts, and I'm like, shit, man, my friends are telling me I'm an idiot because I'm about to buy some JPEGs. I didn't know anybody. Literally 6 hours into Discord, didn't even really know how to use Discord. So this project just opened up. And I just DM'd the founder, this guy named Dylan. I DM'd him and I was like, hey, man, been in Discord for 6 years, absolute expert. I am the mod that you need. And he came back and he was just like, where do you live? And I was like, oh, in the California area. He's like, perfect. I'm in Australia. You're on the opposite side. You can be awake when I'm asleep. Little did I know, this guy ends up to be just some 22-year-old twerp shithead. And so I got the job, I got the mod job, because I quickly realized, I was like, there's no way that I'm going to sit here and grind all these hours and then pay money to hope something's going to happen. So I was like, I'm just going to get a mod job and get free NFTs. I need to learn this shit anyways. What better way to learn it than just be stuck in Discord as a mod, right? So that's what I did. And I think that this is a project actually, they had good intentions in the beginning. But this was my first, which I didn't realize at the time really kind of what was happening, but I call them soft drugs, which definitely still happen today, where these people definitely did start out with good intentions, but they met online, right? The dev and the artist met online. The artist is actually really nice. She's an amazing girl, really talented artist. But you know, overnight they have $5 million in the bank account, and that changes your perspective on a lot of things. And when you get $5 million in the bank account overnight, you know, the dev guy, he decided he didn't want to spend any money, and this project actually had the potential to do a lot of cool things. They were going to have a game coming out. They actually had a demo. And then this guy just, and this is where it really all fell apart, is now one of the bigger people in the space, Llama and Llamaverse. And we reached out to him to say like, hey, we need help promoting. I think he had half the followers at the time. And the one guy, Dylan, was like, no, I'm not going to spend any money on marketing. And we were like, bro, like you have a huge opportunity here. And then sure enough, a couple weeks later, he shade balls out and, you know, just kind of stops like really doing anything. So I saw that, I think, earlier. Am I cutting in and out, by the way?
No.
Okay,
Sound good.
Cool. All right. I saw that happening earlier than I think a lot of people, just more mature, and I had a career. You know, at that time, a lot of the mods were pretty young and either in college or maybe even high school. I don't know. So I was like, this is bad. So I just left. And then sure enough, it ended up being what we would call a soft rug, which is like, it just kind of slowly fizzled out. And then from there, that really, that just whole experience, which is probably about 3 weeks, like, you know, super intense, like, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I had to be glued to my phone the whole time, you know, realizing that I didn't do. But we were talking about self-awareness before. And I think after going through my health stuff, like got pretty bad, you know, got back out of it. And it really made me just kind of reevaluate my life, really dig deep on, you know, like, what am I good at? What do I like? You know, what matters to me? And I knew, so I've always had the gift of gab. And I think one of my main superpower is to create genuine relationships in a very quick amount of time. So I was like, I know that I'm going to be good at this. So instead of spending all of my time, because modding, that I hate to break it to anyone that thinks it's a code, it's just talking to people. Like, you're not doing much, right? You get a secret chat room that you and the founders can see, that you talk about what's going on the server. And other than that, you just show up and interact with the community. Like, it's not like it's not rocket science. They're not doing a whole lot. You're basically spending most of your time in one server opposed to multiple servers. But I knew my strength at that time. And instead of, I was very self-aware of what I wanted to do, right? And I was like, well, and I quickly realized that community is actually what really makes these NFTs successful. It's the art, like anyone can find an artist. The dev work is just basically a version of JavaScript and some existing code. So I was like, the real superpower that I have is this community stuff. So I just started really engaging with the community and building like genuine relationships. Like, I literally just had a guy, his name's Insanity. He reached out to me. There's this new really cool project launching called Catatonics with a bunch of, you know, like DreamWorks animators and stuff. And he reached out to me and he was like, hey, do you remember my name? And I was like, yeah, man, you were like part of my first project. He was like, I want to invite you to the server. It's not open. He's like, I want you to talk to the founders. So like that ability to do that. And that was, you know, back in August, and this happened maybe a week ago. Perfect, like aligning of the stars, right? So now I'm like only one mod gig deep. And like, wow, I've been designing for almost 20 years and my superpower is meeting people. And I was like, NFTs is like it for me. And now it doesn't feel like work. It's something like, I finally found something I actually like to do more than play video games. So I was like, wow, this is something. And so after that server, literally all of the connections that I made between the mods and my community launched all of my other servers that I ever were a part of. And that proceeded to go to about close to double-digit rug pulls. I was literally, I think when the IMX platform that still exists, because I think there's a game on it. I forget what game is on it. But everyone was like, oh, this is the next thing because it minimizes gas fees because it's a closed ecosystem. There's a project called IMX Bears. I think I literally was a mod for less than 24 hours. So I was like, these guys are shade balls. Like their server got hacked. And I'm like in the mod chat, and the founder is like taking pictures of him shirtless next to the pool. I'm like, bro, your server just got hacked. Like, you just like, what are you doing? And he obviously didn't give a flying hell about anything that was happening with that, because he was a younger kid, just stupid rich already, and he was doing it. I don't know. I guess just to get exposure and hopefully make some money. But that was like one of the many rug pulls along the way. And then my last rug pull, which again, like starts off with good intentions. This guy's from, it was called Space Cubes. I had started at that point to build a name for myself, and, friend of a friend, this French dude calls me up out of nowhere. We have like a 3-hour conversation, properly vet him. He gives me the links to his company, got like the LinkedIn profile. This dude's legit. He built 2 of the like fastest growing mobile apps ever on the App Store in France. And I'm like, finally, like, this is it. This dude's a legit business guy. And so he asked me to be his community manager. And that was the first time I like legit got paid, right? He was like, I'll give you, I think it was like a half a ETH at the time. And I didn't know anything at this point either, but it wasn't half a ETH wasn't until like mint, right? And then he was like, I'll give you a percentage of the mint. And I'm like, wow, like, I'm already doing the calculations in my hand. It's like, dude, if we sell this out, this is like 200 grand. It's going to be crazy. So I take the head community moderator role, and like, dude, the artwork was super cool. There's the little cubes. It was 3D art, it was even before Hate Beast. So it was a little bit ahead of its time, like super, detailed 3D art. The guy had built a monetization mobile platform. So I'm like, this is great. He had a prototype of a website where he was basically going to do gamified giveaways and make a mobile app in the same vein as like Temple Run, like those infinite runner things.
Yeah.
But he had like 4 different races, a little story behind it, and everything was going good. And, grinding, everything's great. And this is where I meet Christian and a bunch of other people that I've used along my career, which, and by that time, I already had a bunch of other people that I'd already met. So now I'm really building this network. And do you want me to tell you the story of the ending of Space Cubes or go into Hate Beast?
Let's for the sake of time, because it is 4:30 now, let's go to Hate Beast, because we do have some questions that we want to eventually get to ask you.
Awesome. So I told you I can talk forever. If I'm going off, bro, just tell me, hey, Mike, just kindly let's move forward, and I'll just say okay. So that's where I meet. Go ahead.
You raised a point that I want to try to bring this back to listeners that are thinking, how does this apply to me? And one of the things that you mentioned several times is that a lot of this stuff that you see in the space is fake. And
for sure.
And majority of stuffs are rug pulls. I think rug pull is a harsh word. I think people need to realize that these are startup companies, and a lot of them are done by, young people, adolescents even, and most of them are going to fail. So
for sure. But I will say, when I got into it in August, it was rug pull. I mean, it was straight. There were malicious people that were trying to make a quick buck, right? But I
totally agree with that. But my question is then for people that are entering the space that don't want to get rugged, what are the things they need to look for to ensure that they find the right projects? And I know this might seem obvious to us, but for the newcomers, what would be like the top 3 things?
Right. So I always say, like, the 3 things that are most important is the founders, the community, like how is the community? Is it a bunch of bloated Discords and Twitters that seem fake, and it's all the we're gonna make it and hey, how are you doing, and just empty conversation. And then the roadmap or utility, right? And so the founders ideal, and honestly, I have not seen yet that someone that didn't have experience on building a business was super successful. So previous business experience, entrepreneur founders, hopefully you want that. To communities, smaller communities that are genuine, because you can't control, even hate be suffer from this at the end. It's just impossible to control that amount of people. And it usually just is them hype, high mint, and then it falls off, right? Like you want to be able to build genuine connections in your community. And then 3, roadmap. Like if you see a roadmap that has every gimmick under the sun on the roadmap because they're just trying to fool you into they can do all of this. Number 1 being a game, right? When no one realizes how much effort it takes to make a game. Like Clementines we had on our show, they've been working on their game for 3 years before we even talked to them. So if you see a roadmap that says, hey, we're going to create a game, we're going to make a token, we're going to give back to charity, we're going to build a metaverse, and we're going to do 5 other things, like it's a super big red flag, right? You want a project that picks 1 or 2 things, and that they're going to be able to deliver it right after mint. Because if you don't deliver anything after mint, there's no value there. And if you don't keep on delivering value, like your project's going to fall apart, and that's what people are realizing the hard way.
I had a meeting. I made me giggle a little bit, and when you just named all those things, because I had a meeting yesterday with I had a few, but one of them was with someone that wanted to collaborate with us. And I was like, okay, tell me about your project. What's it like? What are your plans? Literally say exactly what you just said. We're creating a game and tokens, and then we're doing our own metaverse, and then we're doing. And I was just and just kept going on and on and on and on. And on.
Right.
And I was like, so when are you minting? And they're like, well, we started our Discord yesterday. We're gonna mint in about a month. I was like,
yeah,
okay. I was like, all right, no worries. I was like, I can't wait to look into it.
Right. And then back to the point of like, yes, rug pull is a harsh word. Seriously, when I got into it, that's what was happening. But that is a version of people are just inexperienced. They might have the right intentions, but that's just impossible to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what also stood out to me, which I wish I had known when I first started, is that just seeing a large amount of members in a Discord doesn't equal a good project.
No, it actually usually means the opposite, to be honest.
So along those lines, like when you were being a mod in multiple projects, including Hate Beast, at what point do you reach a threshold where you think like, okay, that's a good size, this is the sweet spot, and like when does it cross over to too much?
So I think it just depends on the type of community that you're building. And I mean, if you have unlimited funds to hire 100 mods, yeah, you can manage 500,000 people. But man, think about managing 100 mods. That's a miserable job. So it really depends. I think, if you have 35 mods, which Hate Beast did, I think we probably would have been good at like 150,000 people, maybe 200. But once you get over 500,000, like what the hell do you do with that? And back to what I was saying. So this last rug pull, I met Christian, and out of the blue, one day he DMs me and is like, hey man, this new hot project starting. I've been following this fashion 3D artist guy. It's the Discord's going to drop in like 15 minutes. And I got in there like a couple minutes after, and I did the same thing. I just texted Digi right when I got in there, and I said, hey, I'm the mod for you. But this time I actually could say, hey, I've modded X, Y, and Z servers. And then again, just lucked out, right time, right place. 3 sentences later, here's your mod pick, go on your way. And like, I was a Hate Beast mod, right? I've been in there for like 3 minutes. And then that first month, man, it was magical to see like just like really good conversation, people engaging. Like you could just like, it felt like something special was happening. And then it just got blown. Like it just kept on growing. And then, the announcements start coming out about like, oh, whitelist will be given to everybody, but the collection's only 8,000, and everyone was really cool until the last month, where people start realizing, oh shit, like I've spent all my time in here and I'm not going to get whitelist. I think I did the calculation. It was like a 0.04% chance that you were going to get whitelist, and like I think everybody is for some odd, and it was a weird situation where Hate Beast was this like really special moment in time where 3D art really wasn't a huge thing yet, and the level or detail that Digi had made, it was apes, right? He could brilliant branding, marketing move where combining Hypebeast, which is already a huge popular brand, with apes and good, 3D artwork. It was just like, the stars aligned. And it was just in that part where in October, NFTs were just crazy. And there was this huge influx of new people. And I can't tell you how many people I talked to in the Hypebeast server. It was a majority of the people I talked to was their first NFT project. So not on the top of all of these stars aligning, this is people's first NFT project, and they think like this is normalized. And it's like, God, like this is the most insane thing I've ever seen, and it will never be replicated, right? And then, I think everything was good for like a month and a half, and then it just slowly started deteriorating because it was uncontainable, right? Like how do you organize that many people and be fair? It's impossible.
Start to sound like a government.
Exactly.
It's one thing that put it all in perspective for me when I first got in there was exactly what you said about the 0.04%. I imagined the people standing in like a football field, and I was like, they wouldn't fit in a football field. And then out of all those people, there's like, if I imagine them in like a full football stadium everywhere, and this many were and I was like, I literally first day I was like, nope.
Yeah. What a great visualization. I never even thought about it that way. Yeah, right. Like you're close to 600,000 people.
You got to think of the mods as well. You got to think of like 35 little yellow people, like just like in yellow uniform all around the stadium going.
That's
no.
Multiple stadiums, by the way. I'm pretty sure biggest stadiums are holding like 100,000 or something.
Yeah, but like Penn State and Michigan actually have the largest college. I think Ohio State's up there and they fit 100,000 people. I think Michigan fits 110,000 people. So yeah, man, that's 6 football fields filled of people. That's an amazing visualization.
Over digital images.
And that's why those, pieces of code and digital art can reach such a high price.
Yeah, and it's the scarcity part, right, that does it. But listen, man, even that, how crazy that is. If you were just to become a friend with a mod and you knew what you were doing, like those were the smart people. Like, why would you not try to become my friend? The instant you got into Hate Beast, if I was not a mod at that point, I would be DMing every single mod until someone responded to me, and I would continue to do it until somebody responded to me, because after that it's just random ass luck, right? And it goes back to building the relationships. And the thing that I always said, especially when people started getting pissed off, I was like, people, you would have had enough money 10 times over to buy a Hape if you just would have utilized the people that you met in the alpha and the communities, because that's where it immediately starts going. People get one of the best alpha groups in the space was born out of the first, I'd say 30 to 40 people that went into the first Hate Beast voice chat. Like that's where it started, right? And hundreds of those started after. And you just needed to utilize that information in your network and you would have been fine. And now you don't need much money at all compared to when that minted to get a Hape.
Very cool. I have a question here from Dylan Roberts. I thought it was a good question. He says, what do you recommend to focus on for a project just starting out? as far as marketing and strategic relations go. So this can kind of also apply to us. We have not minted yet. What are the things that you give advice to founders, to new projects?
Well, I would say it depends on your intentions, right? If you have a lot of time, you want organic influencers like us and brands like us, and you just go on Twitter and you start following the people that are getting likes, that having the conversations. You look at the comments, you spend your time doing the research. Like, no one does the research, right? You find the people that have a halfway decent following, and you look at their like and comment ratio. Like, I can't tell you how many quote unquote NFT promoters I see that have over 100,000 followers. And I think I have around 14, and I get, triple the amount of comments they do. So just
quick fun little story for you to interrupt, but you're going to love this one. I have officially, 2 days ago, I had one DM me with 100 and something thousand followers.
Right.
And same thing. I was like, oh, I love this. Fantastic. I was like,
yeah.
This is my game time. And then ended up getting on a Zoom call and just I spun a bunch of shit to really reel him in. And he's like, oh, this would be great. This would be great. I'd be like, I got thousands of dollars to promote and blah, 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 and whatever. And then I was like, oh, actually, no, I'm not interested in promoting, but you can come on the team. He's like, no, I can only promote. I was like, oh, it's all good. I'm not interested. And he's just like, oh, but I need to explain how it works. And I was like, oh, I already know how it works. Like, and I explained exactly how it works. And he's like, oh, and he's like, shit, you caught me, man. And I was like, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing this? And he's like, I got to go. This call's done. And then like up on me, I was like,
yeah,
like it's ridiculous.
And you bring up a good point there, right? I'd say your number one thing is don't if an influencer immediately asks you to pay one in ETH or any type of money, just leave, move on. I have yet to ask anybody for money other than the only thing I ask for is whitelist for my core team, and then to promote my stream or to promote our partnership, right? And those are just very simple asks. But yeah, if someone said, I've heard people charge like command like 5 ETH and they have like less than 10,000 followers on YouTube. And people fall for it because they don't understand. They're just like, oh, that's like the going rate. And there's just so many shitty people out there. So my recommendation is find genuine connections. 2, work for a couple months before you start your project. Like, you got to have a core team. You have to have a singular sole vision. You have to have good artwork. That's just the table stakes at this point. If you have shitty artwork, you better have the most amazing utility that no one's even seen before for you to do okay. And then 3, you have to find the alpha groups, because the alpha groups, unfortunately, it's like, oh yeah, it's all deregulated and praise Web3 for decentralization. It's already at the point where there's a very small group of people that change the ebb and flow of the NFT space. So, if you find the right people, they're going to be able to push your project. Shit, man, they can sell your project out if it is bad, if you know the right people. But if you want to do it right, you obviously, it's like starting a business, like you said, right? You need the right people in place. You need a clear mission and vision. And then you need the game plan to deliver on that clear mission and vision. And then community too, right? Like I would spend time vetting people you believe in to run your community. Like, I feel like the mod thing is the last thing that people think about. And they're like, oh, I'll just get anybody. But like, dude, your project can be totally sabotaged through your Discord if you're just hiring ass shady ass people because it's the last role that you pick. It's one of the most important roles, especially your community manager, like your head community manager. Because there's 2 things here, right? And I think for new NFT people or traditional, I actually have the hardest time. The hardest time I have is bringing traditional business owners into the space because they've been successful, they've made money, and they start telling me like, this is what they think you should do. And I'm like, guys, like, you literally hired me because I've built a brand in the NFT space, and you're now telling me how you built your business. I was like, I really don't care how you built your business because this space is totally different. And the biggest thing that the misconception is there is a clear difference between marketing and community management, right? And people always try to hire marketers when they really just need a community manager, right? And your community managers are building genuine events and fun engagement in your Discord, but that's it, right? And then marketing is how do I get the social media managers? How do I get the alpha groups? How do I get my Twitter engaged? And people tend to wrap all of that into one and be like, I need a community social manager person. And it's like, no, those are two clearly different jobs, actually literally different skill sets. One person cannot possibly do all of that. So if you're naive as to what the job roles actually take to build an NFT, that really hurts you too.
That's great advice. Very cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Something that we even us we've come across so much as well is exactly that is defining those roles. And you're right, it's hiring the marketers for community managers is a terrible decision, because even people that are trying to become mods, like, you know, they'll do a lot of marketing and chilling to try and become a mod, and you're like, it's not what we're after, like.
Right. Yeah, and I would say and I actually had to remind myself this too. And it's like, this is why I got in space in the first place, is because of the community. You just have to keep on reminding yourself, like, do you have the solution? If you have a Discord, you've already built like really dedicated fans. Like a majority of people in this chat right now are like people from my Discord. And like, they're here because they love what we're doing and they support us, and I love them. And I try to help them out as much as I can. Like, they're your solution. They're already ready to, like, you know, go to bat for you. So why would you not utilize all of, like, think of my smaller Discord that is like 1,300 people. Just think about the amount of knowledge and talent in my Discord. It's insane to even think about. So why would you not utilize that? And I think you can easily get caught up in just the day-to-day and how fast this moves. But like, at the heart of any successful, you know, one of the most famous customer service companies in the world, Zappos, that has finally fell apart. But they did it because they treated people like people, man. It's a very simple concept, but people get lost.
What's the type of the new term that they created for managing their business? I forget the name of it.
I don't know what it was.
Something like, it was all scientific, but basically like equal playing field for all people. There was no hierarchy.
Right.
Oh, what was it called?
I forget what it was called. I reference them all the time because there's a great book called Tribal Leadership that talks about a lot of their ethos and mission statements and how they thought about different levels of tribes in their company. And one of the founders, I think, helped write the book. Yeah,
that's a great book for people to pick up if they haven't read it. Do we have any final questions before we start to wrap this up?
There's one here that I see. It says, what gets you really excited about the direction of NFTs, and how do you see it changing in the near future?
I mean, I think it changes every day. What gets me really excited is there's so many applications for NFTs, like just not for buying and making money. Gaming's the first natural step. No one's even done gaming right, which is crazy to think, right? It's just started, and it's going to take, you know, a couple small companies that are quick and nimble that are going to do it faster and better than the Ubisofts and the Blizzards of the world. But eventually they'll catch up. So me being a gamer, I'm excited about that. Two, obviously the evolution into this, like, metaverse becomes reality. People throw metaverse out because it's just a buzzword. But like we've had companies on that already have like mobile apps where, you know, you can do was it like portals, right? So like you can use your cell phone and it's almost like kind of a gimmicky thing, but like you step into a portal and now you're looking at my camera that's showing you like behind the scenes footage at a concert that I'm at. So it's like you're with me. And then seeing that metaverse be built out is what I'm really excited for, because it's going to give, I don't think we're too far away from people making 15, $20 an hour playing video games. And that's just a cool thought to me.
Well, it's already happening. Like people making $8, $10, $6.
Yeah.
It's already on its way.
Yeah. And I mean, as crazy as it sounds, like bring on Ready Player One, ready to do that. But is the immediate future though is, the quote unquote age of the rug pull is going to be dying quickly, and you're going to see leaders in the space be formed because they're legit companies and they're running it like a company and a startup.
That's something that our whole group, our whole project is founded upon, is exactly that. And it's teaching people, like people are coming in from trading or investing or even just from other rug pulls, and they'll come in and it's like, like how could, trying to get all hype. We're like, no. Like, this is like, we're teaching you about like exactly that things, that this is a company, this is a business.
Yeah.
And, if you want to be part of the business,
yeah,
can be, but this isn't a quick instant gratification ecosystem, because it is right now, but it's even since I've been in the space, it has died out tenfold every single day.
Yeah.
And it's only getting better and better, which is awesome.
For sure. And I actually haven't had a chance to plug, but this is all honesty and sincerity. I am super excited about our brand Midlife Crisis, because we're building a media company within one of the coolest spaces ever. And I get to talk to new people every day, every week. And we have a lot of things already in the works for project founders. And, with my past, I know some of the most influential directors that have built, major Hollywood films that you've watched. And I think there's a huge opportunity to bring live action content into this space. A lot of it's, video games, 3D stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to like build my company, and I think it's going to be fun. Really excited about it.
We look forward to growing with you.
Yeah, man.
And we'll have to have more of these calls and kind of check ups on where we are, every year.
Every year, let's do it every couple months.
Well, we're going long term, aren't we?
Well, I'm just saying, it moves so fast. 2 months from now, my beard's going to be 4 times as long, and my company is going to be 10 times as big. So get ready. A year is way too long.
All right. We'll do it quarterly.
All right, I love it.
Stock traders do things by quarterly reports.
Yeah, but you gotta think about how to do it differently now. Yeah. You're in the Web3 space.
It's kind of become my tagline, because I say it now everywhere I go. But I think it's worth being said, because it's very applicable. Is that I always tell our members and people that are entering the NFT space to imagine yourself not as a trader of a stock, but as a venture capitalist.
Yeah,
so you are a person that's investing in an early stage business. Yep. And therefore, that's how you need to approach the NFT space, where you have to put in the due diligence of who are the founders, what is the mission statement, do they have a business plan, and all those things have different pseudonames. You got the roadmap, you got the white papers, but it's all the same thing. Yeah. And I think that's another thing about our group, the Alpha Traders Country Club, is that we do approach the NFT space with that mindset. And I think that will also set us up for long-term success. And so we might have to readdress some of the timing on those things. Like I said, I'm used to quarters and years.
Yeah.
But the principles are the same.
The principles are the same, but I'll tell you right now, if you don't actually give big updates every quarter, your project is going to die pretty quick. People want stuff on the day. Yeah. So you got to think about your cadence of how you update and disseminate information, because people want it immediately in this space. So it's a totally different way of thinking, and that's a problem you have to solve, right? We
just added in our minor announcements channel.
Because
we're like, people want to hear what's going on, like literally.
Oh my gosh, Oh,
Yeah.
it's insane. Yeah. And you're going to have to continue to grow your community and keep them engaged. Like that's why I'm glad I do what I do, because I get to talk to the people that have all those problems, and I have a different set of problems, and I like my problems better than those problems.
Oh, man.
I love it. We have our poker game going down in our Discord in about 10 minutes, so we're gonna have to shoot.
All right. Yeah, man.
But thank you so much for coming on. It has been a pleasure, not only learning about your story here, but watching you evolve. Through your journey so far since I've been in this space anyway. So
I appreciate it.
And if you guys have not followed Mikey G yet, any of our members, please do that on his Twitter at Mikey G NFT. And is your Discord open, or is that invite only?
Closed?
It's closed. Well,
Yeah.
you guys will have to follow him on Twitter then. And
you're gonna have to follow me on Twitter and hope, and then we stream in about an hour. So Midlife Crisis is the other one to follow for sure, and I just put it in chat. So
cool.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the plug. Awesome talking to you again. Let's do this again sooner than later, and have fun with your polka dot games. I have no clue what that is.
Poker. Texas
Oh,
Hold'em.
I thought you said polka dot. I'm like, what is that?
Dude, you just got to get up to speed on the Web3 games. We're all in this.
Listen, I am a brand guy more than marketing. I suck at numbers. I suck at poker faces. My brain doesn't. I can't do all the calculations in real time. That's just not how I work. So
you'd be surprised how many of us can't do it.
No, well,
and I trade for a living.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, I'll come play poker eventually. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Anybody, just before we end, come and hop in the poker game. We've got 3 whitelist spots for the top 3 places, and a winner gets a free NFT that we'll talk about in the poker game chat.
Awesome.